So I'm just back from my first COVID vaccine, so hopefully I don't self-combust during the making of this video. £19,347.61. That is how much I have now invested since the beginning of April 2020. To me and many others, I'm sure that is a shitload of money. If you haven't seen me before, my name is Ian and I've been documenting my investment journey since I began. I still think of myself very much as a beginner and I'm always learning more and sharing the things that I find. The fact is, investing is important and it shouldn't be thought of as difficult or confusing, but sadly it is. Doing these sort of videos helps to keep me accountable and hopefully it helps some of you out there too. So if any of that sounds interesting or useful, please consider subscribing to this channel and I will see you back for future videos. With that being said, let's see how my Trading 212 investment portfolio is looking today in another episode of my investment journey series, and today's episode is episode 42. So things have been extremely bumpy over the past few months. I did manage to hit a £3,000 return back in February, which at the time was a 22.5% return on my investments. That shit blew my mind and I simply had to tweet about it. After all, you've sometimes got to be your own hype man. And in complete contrast to that, I've also dropped to lows of £786 returns. This was just a 4.21% return on my investments, and this actually happened more recently, which was just last month in May. But here's the thing, I didn't sell at either of these points. So I had loads of people telling me I should have sold when my investments were at an all-time high, or what they thought was an all-time high at the time. And I've also had plenty of people tell me that I should have sold when they were at the absolute lows, back when the returns were roughly £786 in total, because those investments were bad investments and they were unlikely to ever recover. So did I make the right decision to simply hold on to my investments and keep adding into them, to keep investing and growing those positions? Well, the thing is, only time will tell. Once again, it's a cliche, time in the market over timing the market. But hey, maybe it's a cliche for a reason, because it's true. So, what stocks am I holding at the moment? Let's take a look at my Trading 212 investments and see what's what. So first off, let's take a look at my ETFs. And an ETF, for those who don't know, is an exchange traded fund. It's a fund that trades on an exchange. This means it can be bought or sold on a stock exchange like a regular stock. I'm a really big fan of ETFs, I likely always will be, and they do actually make up the bulk of my portfolio, and they probably always will. So, my first ever investment was actually in the iShares Core FTSE 100 ETF. Now here's a fun fact, or not so fun fact, because it's actually quite boring, but did you know that FTSE, FTSE, stands for Financial Times Stock Exchange? Well, now you do. So this investment for me is currently worth £2,754. With a positive return of £444, that's 19.25% return. I own 401 shares and I have been steadily buying into it throughout our various national lockdowns over the past year and a half, nearly 2 years. So next up is the iShares Core S&P 500 ETF. This gets the award for the biggest holding in my portfolio, currently worth £4,533 with a positive return of £646, that's 16.61%. Moving on to the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF, this has taken a massive dive over the past few months. But the thing is, I'm still confident in clean energy over the long term. It's definitely the energy of the future, and I do believe this will recover, and it will recover well. It's just going to take some time. But please don't quote me on that, and do not take that as financial advice, because believe me, it's not. That's just my opinion. So because I'm still confident in clean energy long term, there's going to be no panic selling from me. I own 169 shares and they're currently worth £1,572. Yes, that's a negative return of £222. Ouch, I know it's painful, but long term I'm sure things will be fine. Moving on to the iShares Nasdaq 100 ETF, lots of good tech stocks in this ETF. I currently own 2 shares, and yes, it's a very expensive ETF to buy into, and those 2 shares I've got are worth £1,153.20. So that's a positive return of £220, 23.67%. Next in my list of ETFs is the iShares Physical Gold ETF. I've just thought of a new drinking game, take a shot every single time I say ETF. So I own 22 shares in this ETF and I've been buying very small amounts here and there. It currently makes up about 3% of my total portfolio, and that is currently worth £569, which as you can see is a negative return of £94, 14.2% in the red. Moving on to the VanEck Vectors Video Gaming and Esports ETF, it's always a mouthful saying that one. Ticker symbol ESPO, much easier saying it like that. I currently own 42 shares which are worth £1,311, that is a positive return of £10.33. Don't spend it all at once, folks. This is another ETF I'm confident in long term, and I really do think this industry still has a long way to go. Again, don't quote me on that, that's just my opinion. And for the last of my ETFs, yes, that's another shot you need to take there, the Vanguard FTSE Emerging Markets ETF. 46 shares which are now worth £2,407. That is a positive return of £267, 12.48% return in the green. So with that long ass list of ETFs out the way, there was nothing even on that. Let's go and take a look at my total dividends received since I started investing. And it's important to note here, guys, I don't invest purely for dividends. I just view them as a really nice bonus, and believe me, they are a nice bonus, especially when you see them growing over time. And all of my dividends get reinvested, always, and that way we're letting compound interest do its thing. So, my total dividends received to date is, drumroll please, £270.67. And I must admit, I'm absolutely chuffed with that. So my biggest divvy payment, dividend, trying to be cool, it's probably not working. Most recently came from Legal & General, which is one of my favourite UK stocks. And that dividend, as you can see here, was a whopping £63.20. Other notable mentions over the past few months would be dividends from Shell and also from my S&P 500 ETF and also the FTSE 100 ETF. That's 2 more shots if you're not counting. And yes, they pay dividends too, something that a lot of people don't actually realise. So with the dividends out of the way, let's get back to my investments. So next up here we have Argo Blockchain, and you'll be glad to know this one is not an ETF. Argo Blockchain is a blockchain technology company which is focused on large-scale cryptocurrency mining. This is definitely one of my most bullish stocks of late. I've been taking advantage of the recent dips in price and I've been buying in and increasing my position steadily. I currently own 1,545 shares worth £2,002. This is actually a negative return of £292, which is 12.76% in the red. Now I know that sounds painful, and believe me, it can sometimes look painful, but just remember, and this goes for any investments, it's only a loss if you sell at a loss. And believe me, I ain't planning on selling this one for a long time. I definitely believe crypto has a big place in the future of money, and for that reason I am staying well put. So the next stock here is Legal & General, and I own a nice 500 shares which are worth £1,354, a positive return of £165, 13.9%. Moving on, and I know this is going to make me hungry thinking about this, it always does. We have McDonald's, 3.4 shares which are worth £572, and that is a positive return of £9.06. How much food can I buy at McDonald's with £9.06? Probably not a great deal. Next up here is Shell, Royal Dutch Shell, ticker symbol RDSB. I own 162 shares with a value of £2,206, and that is a positive return of £271, which is 14.03% in the green. Funnily enough, 1403 is also my date of birth, 14th of March, which is also the same date of birth as Albert Einstein, who, yes, Albert Einstein and compound interest, if you know your thing, he said it's the 7th wonder of the world. There's another fun, totally useless fact. Enjoy. The next stock I own here, and yes, it's also going to make me want a coffee now, so now I'm going to be hungry and wanting a coffee, is Starbucks. With Starbucks, I own 4 shares and they are worth £331, which is a positive return of £33, 11.21% return in the green. And there's a question, how many coffees can you buy in Starbucks with £33? Probably 2 or 3, if that. Thing is, you'll probably be too drunk to even get to Starbucks after all the ETFs I've been mentioning, and yes, there goes another shot. Moving on here, we have Tilray, the Canadian pharma/cannabis company. These were free shares I received from Trading 212 quite a while back. I received 2 shares, which are now worth £24, and that is a negative return of £3.78. Although to be honest, I don't really call free shares negative returns. At the end of the day, the shares were free. I never used any of my own money to get them. I was given them from Trading212, thanks to you lovely folks who used my referral links to sign up to Trading212. So thank you. So there we go. That is all of the investments I currently hold. A total of 13. Did used to hold a lot more investments, and thankfully I've managed to narrow it down. I believe having between 10 and 15 for me works well. I can keep track of them and I can manage them better, and it just doesn't get too overwhelming, if that makes sense. Maybe in the years to come I'll increase that number, but for now I'm happy keeping it between 10 and 15. So my total portfolio value in Trading212 is now sitting at £20,802.56, and here is how the allocation for each investment is looking. So you can see right there that the S&P 500 is still at the top, like I mentioned earlier, and yes, it probably will always be that way because it's just such a good investment, I think, to take up the bulk of your portfolio. Again, guys, that is not financial advice. Again, my opinion. So I still do recommend Trading212 to anyone who is looking to start investing. Unfortunately, at the moment, there is still a waiting list for new accounts getting signed up to Trading212. Rest assured, I have been told by the staff at Trading212, if you create an account and get yourself signed up on the waiting list, which you can do so by using the link which is in the description of this video. I'll also make sure the link's in the comment of this video. If you get signed up to that waiting list and then create an account when the account registrations are open again, you will receive a free share worth up to £100 in value, and so will I. And that will be a random free share. It could be something good, it could be something bad, who knows. That's what makes it exciting. So yeah, if that sounds interesting, like I say, use my link below, get yourself signed up onto the waiting list, and hopefully you can start investing with Trading212 as soon as possible. So we're coming to the end of the video, and look at that, I didn't combust. I'm still here, so the vaccine has not killed me yet. I still feel fine, so that's a good sign surely. And I'm sure you're all pretty pissed now if you've been doing the shots with the ETFs. There goes another one, I'm sorry. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like. It really does help me, helps my channel, helps push these sort of videos out into the faces of other people out there who are interested in this sort of content. Yes, you can also subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. No shit, you knew that. Below, the red button that says subscribe. Click the bell icon if you're really that keen on getting notified when I post new videos. You don't have to, no pressure. If you want to, do it. Thank you, I really do appreciate it. Any questions, thoughts or ramblings, please post them in the comment section below and I will make sure to get back to you. I do reply to every single comment, even the negative ones. Sometimes I will get back to people and just see why they're in such a bad place and hopefully try and help you out. I'll make sure to pin the best comments to the top of the comment section for everybody else to see. So thanks again for watching this, guys. Once again, I really do appreciate it and I really hope to see you in the next video.